Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know.
Hola, bon dia, Alegria Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show. Yes, the live stream and the podcast and the Portugal Club, of course, will be visiting the Portugal Club in a little while before our guests of the day get to us this morning. As Savvy Cat Ana Caramujo joining us at around 8:20 to talk about that big issue of citizenship here in Portugal for us foreigners, people who are resident here, who may or may not become citizens. It's becoming more challenging, difficult, or it takes longer. Anyway, let me put it that way. And it's changing people's plans potentially as well. So we'll talk about that. It was the talk of the Expats Portugal Dream Team Town Hall last night, interestingly. And there'll be a webinar this next Thursday focusing on that. Daniel Reis of Reis and Pelicano will be going through the state of play, blow by blow account of what's gone on. He was pretty peeved about it, actually. He's not at all happy about how people are being treated, and especially upset about any retroactive law changes as well that have changed people's futures, really. If they came to Portugal expecting one thing and the law is changed underneath their feet and the rug is pulled, he's not at all happy about that. I wonder what you think about that. So Savvy Cat Ana Caramujo joining me to talk about that and an update from her world of Savvy Cat Realty. And Ben Austin also joining us at around 9 in about an hour's time with his second installment. We had a lot of fun, did we not, last time? For some reason, it turned into a kind of, we were learning Portuguese phonetically, but we wove in quite a lot of British comedy as well for some reason. And the Pavlova of the Parallel Bars came up, if I remember, and some Monty Python influences or connections as well. I'm just getting my ducks in a row here and making sure I've got the right banner set. Oh, yeah, Eric Bourgon. I want to talk about him briefly as well this morning. I had a second conversation with him in this last week. Let me know how you're doing. So, yes, Anna's joining me at around 8:20. Ben's joining me at 9. Seems a long way from now, does it not? And keen to know what you're thinking about citizenship now. And generally speaking, on this, the Independence Day of the United States of America, the 4th of July. Can you hear the phrase, the sound, 4th of July, without hearing burr, 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 burr in the background? I cannot, but that's what happens when you grow up in the United Kingdom with the US and the special relationship, which seems to be changing before our eyes. How are you doing? Are you here in Portugal as an American celebrating your independence from America at the moment? Let me know how that's going for you. Sarah Yeoman, good to see you. T-Duck, bon dia, Alegria Campos. Let's put that thing on the screen where we can see your comments. You see that little grayed out bit to the bottom right of your screen? If you type a comment in, you'll see it there immediately. You don't have to wait for my censorship and facilitation of your comments. So if you want to type something in childish and just see it on the screen, I wish you wouldn't, but I would be tempted to do so myself, even though I am reaching a very significant milestone on Monday in age terms. Maybe not in maturity terms. Every man appears to be still a teenager in some sense, does he not, as he ages? And it is the Independence 4th of July. So, talking of birthdays, it is Owen's birthday. So let's hear from him now.
I want to watch the sunrise, but I'm laying in my bed. I think I'll change my mind and just watch GMP instead. Good morning, GMP.
Good morning, GMP. How childish. Yes, go on, try it. Yes, your comment appears on the screen right there. You can write anything. Why have I told you to do that? Why am I even suggesting that? Morning, Sarah. And happy birthday, Owen. Parabéns, amigo. Hola, peeps. Right back at you there. Igualmente. With an hola to you, Owen. Hope you have a great day today, the 4th of July, where America celebrates your birthday. Mr. S is here. Hola, gata desenrolada. Y Senor Munson. Hello, Mr. S. Just got back. Just got back. Guess who's back? The real Mr. S. Slim Shady's back from the US. How are you doing? I'm independent of my age. Yes, that would be one way of interpreting Independence Day today, would it not? So, Owen, have a great day, mate, and all that you're doing today. And see you soon, one way or another. Do come to San Martino de Porto. I believe I'm having a party as well. And the memos haven't been very good, actually. It has to be said. I'm first. I thought I was going to burst into song there. At first, I was afraid. I was petrified. No, my birthday's on Monday. I'll be 60 on Monday. And I think what's happening is on the Wednesday of that week, the meetup would be a nice chance to hang out and celebrate my birthday. That'll be the 9th, Wednesday the 9th. So actual birthday on the 7th, Wednesday the 9th, meet up in San Martino de Porto. And we've just started a pétanque club, a French boule. If you like French balls, bowling, boule, pétanque, you can come along and join us. It was brilliant. It was really beautiful last Wednesday evening. The men's shed has become the San Martino de Porto boule pétanque club for the summer season. The sun was low in the sky, could see the water of the bay. What's the right word? Sparkling. It was sparkling. The sound of metal on metal, not leather on willow, but the sound of pétanque balls. You know, sometimes when you do one of those dive bomb moves and you hear that amazing sound and gravel gets sent in every direction. We were sipping beers from the Palmeira Cafe. Nelson was wondering what on earth we were doing. Passers-by were thinking, wow, yeah, this looks like France here in Portugal this evening. It was a really beautiful scene. And a lot of us really enjoyed it and have decided to turn the Wednesday evening men's club into, or the men's shed, into a pétanque club for the summer season here in San Martino de Porto. So imagine we're doing that again next Wednesday evening, the 9th. And yes, I'll be there at the meetup at lunchtime if you want to come and celebrate my birthday with me. And then on the 19th, wasn't going to do a party, a karaoke disco party on the 19th. We're going to rest for the summer. But Rodrigo at the Casa de Lem cocktail bar is very open. We're having a lot of success. We're making a lot of new Portuguese friends and passers-by and tourists. So 19th, Saturday the 19th, please come and party with me to celebrate my birthday if you would like to do so. July the 19th from around 8 o'clock at the Casa de Lem cocktail bar. Why not come for the weekend here in San Martino de Porto? Drop me a line if you need more details on that and suggestions of places to stay and so on. But it'd be lovely to see you. I'm going to come back to my birthday. Another one of my birthday celebrations that starts on Monday in just a moment. Need to say hola bon dia to Anna. Bon dia alegria to you, Anna, as well. Right, so yeah. Just a reminder then, in about 10 minutes, Savvy Cat Ana Caramujo will be joining us to talk about citizenship. There is a petition. As I understand it, she doesn't think there's much chance of the Portuguese government and system being influenced by a petition from foreigners begging that it stays at 5 years, or at least that those who've shown an interest, who came on the understanding that it was 5 years, can still have that honoured. So let's see what she thinks about that, and generally take the pulse of foreigners moving to Portugal and the real estate scene from her point of view. Dr. Caramujo will see you in about 10 minutes. And then Ben, phonetic Portuguese. I have dared to call it easy Portuguese with Ben Austin from around 9 this morning. Sarah, right, yes, you saw an interview with Rui Armindo Freitas, the government's immigration guy. He says that the new law will reset all residency counts to 0. If you've been here 4.9 years, it's 10 more. That does seem harsh, does it not? But there you go. Anybody else know about this? The chance to really take it. I hesitated to utter the overused and somewhat cliched phrase of deep dive, but it will be a deep dive next Thursday, the 10th, as Daniel Reyes of Reyes and Pelicano joins us. And let me just show you this on the screen. I'll be hosting and chairing this conversation next Thursday evening on this subject. if you recall, it was April of this year when this suggested as a possibility, town halls. Oh, I'm trying to press buttons and nothing's happening here. Oh, here it's working again now, I think. Yeah, here we go. Let me just turn a few things off. I think I'm overloading the processor here. Yeah, there you go. Navigating Portugal's new citizenship laws. This will be a webinar next Thursday with Daniel Reisen Pelicano. And it was him or Rodolfo Pelicano and Gilda on one of our Dream Team Town Hall evenings of a Thursday night back in April. When this was first suggested, it first came onto the radar. There were rumblings that it might change from 5 to 10 years. And we found that very hard to believe back in April. But there you go. It seems to be a done deal now, bar the shouting, as it were, as we say in the UK. So come join us. Let me just give you the link for that. If you want to bookmark that, make sure you're there. And if you're an Expats Portugal premium member, of course, you'll be part of the audience, as Peder is, who joins us this morning as well. Good evening, wasn't it, last night, Peder? We were with Philomena chatting about 5 great places to go in Portugal this summer with great festas and celebrations and music. Let me see if I remember them correctly. The first was Viana do Castelo. There you go. Let me just take that off the screen and leave that on the screen for you, so you've got the link to get to that for next Thursday. Viana do Castelo was Philomena's first suggestion for this summer to see the fabulous costumes of their Agonias celebrations, where they take the holy relics out to sea, and they also have the fabulous costumes and the filigree jewelry. We then went to Viseu for another festival. Well, one of these great Portuguese summer festivals where there's an amazing showground and different artists, domestic, national and international artists playing as well, with a wonderful program. For Viseu was the second venue she suggested. Coimbra, her beloved Coimbra, where she was born and educated and lives in the district of Coimbra, of course, as a citizen of Miranda de Corvo. So Coimbra was on there. Cantanhede, the Expo Facic, that's a massive do. Zutos e Pontepes tend to play there. I think they might be headlining this year. Guns N' Roses have been in Portugal. They played in the Coimbra district, I believe. Was it at Quinta das Lagrimas? And finally, Lagoa. She suggested Lagoa as well. So those 5, that will be released on the Expats Portugal YouTube channel on Sunday at 6 if you want to review those. Yes, and Expats Portugal this Thursday the 10th for that special with Daniel Reis of Reis and Pelicano. Let me just take that off there and let you see that one more time, should you be interested to get into the nuances of all of that. Key elements of the government's current proposal: proposed changes to residency duration and integration criteria, rules affecting children born in Portugal to foreign parents. Oh, yeah. The proposed end to the Sephardic Jewish nationality pathway, updates to nationality by descent and new documentation requirements, introduction of cultural and political knowledge assessments, revocation clauses for serious criminal convictions, the legislative process, where things stand, and what may happen next. Oh, my goodness. Portugal, you used to be cool, man. What is all of this? Right. Sarah says, Andrew, I have not seen this anywhere, and I've been following this closely. I am sure the uproar would be much louder if that were to be the case. Please share the source link. Well, thank you, Andrew. That doesn't surprise me. The proposals presented on, thank you, Thunderduck, for this, Grok's AI response on this. The proposals presented on June 23rd are still under parliamentary review and require a 2/3 majority for approval. And they are being looked at today, as I understand it. I think that's what Daniel said last night. They are being looked at today. It's expected to go through. And the only challenge to parts of it will be if the president thinks any of the changes are unconstitutional. He is known as a constitutional, Portuguese constitutional scholar. So he may have a veto based on that it's an unconstitutional change. Daniel, if you watch the replay, that's also available. If you see Daniel talking about this I think it was around 20 minutes past 9 last night. He's gutted basically by the treatment of foreigners with this, and he apologized for his tone last night in sharing his bitterness about this. I thought he was very measured and factual, and he owned it. He was upset by the changes, And it would appear the only challenge to this parliamentary process will be from the president himself, from a constitutional point of view. And this whole idea of retroactive law does seem very unfair. It's an especially bitter part of this. And that's where the president might step in. We shall see. Mr. S says Chega salivating at the sound of 10 years. I think a lot of people are using Chega as a proxy at the moment. And I guess that's how it works in politics, right? The centre right might quite like the idea of the political updraft they'll get from these changes, whilst being able to blame Chega for this, whilst actually thinking it's a good idea themselves. For vulnerability and authenticity in politics. But as old as I am, I still live in hope. Sarah, Andrew, I'll look for it now. It's a Portuguese-only interview. Mine is far from perfect, but I got that. Thanks, Sarah. If you could find that, that would be really helpful. We do actually have a thread over at the Portugal Club developing. Those of you who are Portugal Club members, it'd be great, actually, fantastic. James, thank you very much for doing what you've done over there at the Portugal Club. And yeah, what I'm going to do is put a link to a thread at the Portugal Club, Portuguese citizenship changes, challenges and choices. This will be an updated thread over there. I'll put everything that I can find in one thread. Changes are afoot and it's a dynamic and changing situation. Let's see, that reads badly, doesn't it? It's a dynamically changing situation. Let's see what we can do to stay on top of the information and situation in this thread. So let me give you the link to that. And I also want to stay over just before we've got Savvy Cat joining us. I want to invite you to hi Anna, good to see you as well, the Swede in Portugal, but in Stockholm this morning. Bom fim de semana a todos from Stockholm. Let me go back over to the Portugal Club just very quickly. Savvy Cat Ana is getting ready to join us on screen. I want to invite you to come and raise your Portuguese game over and celebrate with me my 60th birthday on Monday. If you've ever uttered, "Oh, I'm too old to learn Portuguese," nonsense. Stop it immediately and come and join me as we raise our game on Monday and embark on the 30-day challenge with Maria. So let me just put that onto the screen so you know exactly what you're looking at and what you'll be getting yourself involved with. If you're a Portugal Club member already, this is just part of our classroom. There's no cost for this, although Maria is going to be running a weekly clinic drop-in surgery so you can practice conversational Portuguese, and she'll have a WhatsApp group ongoing as well for a mere €20, where you can just ask her questions at any time and she'll get back to you in that WhatsApp group on your questions about the Portuguese language. So there you go. You can see it on the screen there. I'll put the link in the chat. I'm going to go get right into this on Monday and do the 30-day European Portuguese challenge with Maria. This was created by her and Vitor, who you know, of course. And I'll put the link for this into the chat now. And as I say, if you're a Portugal Club member, you'll get access to this already. You can do it. You can start it today. Barak, good evening. Barak, I'm used to talking to you in the evening, aren't I? Good morning to you, Barak. And maybe you could let Michelle know exactly what to do. She could use your membership, I think, over there if she wants to. I guess it's household membership. So come and do this. I'm celebrating my 60th birthday on Monday by immersing myself further into conversational Portuguese. And together, a few of us can do this. So that link is in the chat there. You can start it yourself today if you want to strike while the iron's hot. I think the most important thing is the conversational Portuguese. My current joke around learning the Portuguese language is, what does A2 translate into in Portuguese? It translates into, I don't speak Portuguese. I know far too many people with the A2 who don't speak Portuguese. You know, they've done the class and you're sat next to them in a cafe or a restaurant and they can't speak the language. There's something wrong with that. So I would recommend you start, just jump in. Talk to people in your daily life here in Portugal in as much Portuguese as you can manage. And I promise you, it will get better. Without further ado, we've kept her waiting 1 minute already. Savvy Cat Ana Caramujo is ready to talk to us this morning. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. Oh, that's not the applause. That's the expletive button. She might be swearing about the citizenship thing. I don't know. Well, let's find out. Let's see if we can find that applause. She's not coming on until we've given her a nice big round of applause. Here it is. Hola, bom dia, Savvy Cat. How are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm here this morning. So
Pretty.
you are doing afternoon. We're doing morning.
Oh, it's at any time of the day you'll be able to find us if you comb our YouTube channel. But yeah, Fridays it seems, Anna, are really nice to do a live stream. So thank you for joining us live this morning. How are you doing? To Dubai
To the morning. Let's get hot.
already?
It's
Where are
already.
you?
Yes, I'm in
Where-
Porto and I already turned on the AC.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wow, 8:22. What's the temperature? Do you know?
I think it's already closer to 30. Let me check.
Good Lord. Right. Okay. A hot one in Porto.
It's they say actually 24, but it doesn't feel like 24.
This is the new thing with weather, isn't it? It's what the mercury is saying, and then what the meteorologists tell you, which is it feels like. And
Yeah.
I don't know how emotional weather thing works. Like it feels like 100, because which means what it's really hot, but actually the mercury is saying 20 odd for you at the moment, but you do feel pretty warm from the sound of it. Wow, amazing. Has it been like that in Porto, just generally?
No, it's actually hasn't been too bad. They said this week it was going to go up to 40, and I'm very thankful it didn't. It only went to like 31 or 32, so it's not that horrible.
That's amazing, isn't it? Amazing. Well, I hope you managed to stay cool. The AC is already on. The temperature also rising around this citizenship, Anna. Should we start there? I mean, this must come up in conversation when you're talking to people who want to move to Portugal, and they're saying to you, "Hey, hold on a minute. I thought I could get, one of the great benefits of moving to Portugal was that in 5 years or after 5 years of residency, I could trade that up to citizenship. Now they're changing it to 10 years. What's that about? And how are you responding to that with inquiries from around the world?"
Honestly, I haven't had that much panic. There's not the people that been reaching out to us don't seem to be all that concerned about that situation.
Mm.
My personal opinion is that honestly, I think most of these measures are pretty on point. The only one that I think is not as great and probably needed some change is the ones that they propose to change to the reagrupamento familiar, so the family reunification.
Mm.
And those are not good because they are potentially unconstitutional. Basically, they were trying to enforce that people would have to wait 2 years to do family regrouping.
Yes.
Uh,
Reunification, I think it's generally known as, isn't it? Reunification.
and that seems highly unconstitutional, to be honest, because
Yes.
people have the right to be joined with their family, and the state should not be able to forcibly separate people for 2 years. I mean, if it's a family with kids, I mean, your family, would you come here if your family could only join you after 2 years? Probably not. I mean, that's ridiculous.
It depends, doesn't it? It's all relative, isn't it? I guess, but yeah, on the face of it, no, that wouldn't be a very attractive proposition, unless, of course, I had no other option. But yeah, and like jokingly, I said, Portugal, you used to be cool. You've changed, man. I mean, these things are changing. Do I sense from your response that these are changes that are long overdue? And things have been a bit sort of complacent and unresponsive previously, and these are things that should be happening here for Portugal.
A lot of them are, because honestly, Portugal has been known as the back door of Europe for a long time. Lots of people that cannot enter other countries of Europe come to Portugal, and because it's just so easy.
Yeah.
And that's not exactly positive. I mean, there was the policy that the government focused on 10, 15 years ago was exactly to bring wealth from foreign countries in order to support the local economy, and it worked. It worked very well. We have a lot of people that came, and it had a lot of positive impact, some negative impact, but honestly, I do think the overall was positive. But now we're getting to a point where it's not very sustainable, and I do think the government is also to blame on this, because they did this policy, which, like I said, it wasn't a bad policy in itself, but they did not try to incentivize the internal economy at the same time. So
Right.
now what is happening is that the locals cannot keep up with the lifestyle costs that they imported.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and this is what happens, isn't it, when things aren't joined up and there's just one political gesture and not the backup to go with it. And you could argue, couldn't you? But the people who the great investment that came in with the golden visa and foreigners investing and moving to Portugal, that could have been noticeably used for infrastructure, social housing, and so on. But there doesn't seem to be much sign of that, does there?
No, and I mean there are the supposed governmental housing programs for accessible housing. There's barely any of them that you can look at. I
Yeah.
mean, before my father passed away, and my father passed away in 2021, he was already talking about one of the big old military headquarters in the center of Porto, in Rua de Serpa Pinto, actually, that was approved to become social and affordable housing. Well, we're in 2025 and not even a single construction started.
No, and I think we can safely say that politicians are quite good at doing things at the sort of front end and changing policy, but not so good on this backup. And that's a really good example that you've given there. So, from your point of view, from the country's point of view, it seems like a reasonable change. Of course, Spain, as T-Duck is saying there, requires 10 years, and you must give up any other citizenships. So it's all relative, as I say. Portugal, I think, remains a great place to come. Notwithstanding the fact that these are on a personal level for people a little bit turbulent and disruptive and a challenge to people's expectations, right?
But I do think that citizenship was a bit too easy to obtain. I mean, citizenship, it's something that I agree that there's lots of situations where double citizenship makes a lot of sense. But citizenship is about belonging in a way, I guess.
Yeah.
And, just living 5 years in a country, does that make you a Portuguese citizen? I mean, I would say no, but I understand how it was a great incentive, but I don't think it no longer makes sense in the current scenario.
It may be seen in historical terms as a loophole, mightn't it? It might have been, those might be seen as the glory days when it was easy. And Portugal, as I think you seem to be suggesting, is kind of either catching up or making it right, making it right for its own citizens and its nation state. And the funny thing is, to me, is like this whole, with incredible technological changes, that it does, the nation state itself seems to be a very old-fashioned idea, that we have all these nationalities based on geographical boundaries, but we have all these different ways of relating to each other technologically now. And it might be that the nation state itself was a concept, not just Portugal, but all nation states. You look at what's going on in the United States at the moment. It's very interesting that we've got this very old-fashioned idea of that it being a geographical thing, but there are so many other influences in it, aren't there? The sort of sociological, cultural. We live in times of incredible migration, and yet we're still sort of bound by these strange ideas and geographical boundaries, and those are managed by people who we don't respect, i.e. the politicians. So I think it's a very interesting time, generally speaking, around the world about what nationality, citizenship, and all those sorts of things might mean. And Portugal, of course, is playing its part in that. But you're not noticing any difference in terms of interest in the country by the sound of it.
On the immediate time, I haven't noticed a lot of difference. Like I said, even if you don't become a citizen in 5 years, you still can get most of the benefits even without officially becoming a citizen. When you have your resident card, there's a big majority of things you can do. I mean, you don't get the passport, but I would say that 90% of the other things you are able to do pretty much as a Portuguese citizen. Do correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, that's right.
So I do think that a lot of these measures make sense and they were duly needed and agreed by the Portuguese citizens, and because of the unchecked immigration. And this is also, like you said, it's very much a cultural thing. Nowadays, it's very easy for people to just move around and go to different countries and travel and so on. The world has become very globalized, but there are still a lot of hard cultural differences. I mean, within Europe, it's fairly easy to adapt, as things tend to be not that different. I would say, even if you look at the US, okay, there's some changes, but things tend to not be so drastic. But when you come from completely different cultures, and nowadays, as you know, there's a lot of tension around, Indian, Afghan, and Middle Eastern immigration. And I think it's very much due to cultural differences, because these people, they came in, they basically take over neighborhoods, and there's like 5, 10 of them living a 2-bedroom apartment. And that does not at all correspond to what the Portuguese people think is quality of life, and it's our cultural pattern. And I do believe that creates a lot of tension between
not just here,
the people.
Yes.
In general, I think that this is happening all over Europe, but in the other countries of Europe, it's not this easy to obtain citizenship and enter the country. So, and another thing that was happening was the birthing tourism. So basically, people were coming here at the late stage of their pregnancy, so their children could get the Portuguese citizenship, and then the parents could come to Portugal because their children had the Portuguese citizenship. And so this, I do believe, especially the family reunification, is very much intended to try and prevent this situation. It's not going to be an easy solution. Like I said, I don't agree with the current proposal. I think they should find some other way to try and prevent this kind of situation. But I do see where it's coming from. And it's actually being a huge problem in the Portuguese hospitals and maternity wards, because you have a huge amount of foreigners coming to Portugal to give birth, and using the free public service that we taxpayers are paying for.
Yes, agreed. It has brought things to light, hasn't it, that were just ignored, I suppose, and the pressure is being felt. This is one way to manage that. I just find it fascinating. This is a thing that's going on all over Europe, it would appear. There are some incredible sort of demographic changes afoot for Europe. It's a really big and rich and complicated conversation, and one that I hope we continue to have. And at the moment, it seems the only people with any power in that debate really are politicians. And there's just for me, there's such a sort of irony with that. It's like, there are situations in society that we're uncomfortable with, and then we entrust the changes around that to people we don't trust or respect. We definitely need systematic change, but maybe that's a bit beyond the scope of this conversation this morning.
I don't disagree with you. The problem tends to be what system is better, because I agree there's a problem, but I have no idea what the solution is. I was having this conversation last week. It's like, okay, I agree there's a problem, but I'm a very practical, solution-oriented person. So I'm like, I prefer to focus on things that I can actually fix. And this one, I have no idea how to fix.
No, that's right. We do know there are problems and challenges, right? And that it's only going to get worse, especially if it isn't dealt with. And it's like, the government should do something. So the government's doing something. And if you look at how people feel about governments and politics and politicians, it's really weird how, on the one hand,
in theory, the people are the ones electing the representatives in parliament.
In theory, yes.
In truth, most of us vote for the parties, but I would say that the majority doesn't even know the specific representative they're electing.
Right.
And on top of that, I think it's like you said. I think politics kind of have a bad reputation. I would say that a lot of people that we would like in politics don't want to be in politics, and that's actually part of the problem, probably.
It is, isn't it? And all these important things, that are very dear to us: education, health, quality of life. you could argue the last people we should be leaving these important things to are the people we hold in such low esteem and with such disrespect, and have and imagine will do terrible things out of self-interest. Yet that is the system we have. So yep, absolutely right. We can see there's a problem, and we're not exactly sure what to do about it, but we can keep looking. We can hold our own feet to the fire and see what else we might come up with, because I think we're in a time of human evolutionary change as well, sociological change. So who knows what might happen and might come out of this this debate, this phenomenon, this whole movement and tension that's going on at the moment. We shall see. Let's get back to some of the specifics of this conversation. And I don't know if you agreed with me, because one of the requirements for citizenship, Anna, of course, is to speak the language. People do the A2, yet they can't speak any Portuguese noticeably and don't in everyday life. We just got our A1 last night. The reason why you can't carry on a conversation is because they don't teach conversation in Portuguese. It's the grammar, isn't it? And again, we know that
grammar is a pain.
Yeah, and that's not how children learn, is it? Children learn by imitation and immersion and speaking. They don't have. Can you imagine if you were like 2 and which is what our equivalent age is as foreigners? We're like months old, aren't we? Days old in terms of our Portuguese comprehension. And the first thing that happens in these classes is you get an onslaught, an assault of grammar, which is enough to put you off for the rest of your life. I'm all for this being converted into conversational Portuguese, because it is time-based as well, isn't it? It's attendance-based. So you'd still get your hours in, but I think it'd be so much more useful to have applied conversational Portuguese than all this blimming grammar that a lot of Portuguese people can't even cope with, at whatever age they are, right?
I think that we Portuguese often don't help, because when we understand you are struggling with Portuguese, we automatically switch to English. So
exactly. Yes, that also happens, doesn't it? And thank goodness you do sometimes. Thank you for that. Barak, the question is, if they are going to do a shotgun effect to make everyone wait 10 years, or going to start from, say, 2025 going forward, is 10 years? Yes, this is one of the scenarios. A reset, and you start again. Spain offers a fast-track citizenship for certain nationals, which is 2 years. And they
don't only for the colonized, the old colonies of Spain. Okay. So that is offered for the old colonies of Spain, the same way that Portuguese had special agreements for Portuguese-speaking countries such as Brazil and so on.
Yep.
So that does not apply to general citizens. And Portugal is also tightening on these Portugal-speaking countries' measures and facilities, because especially the Brazilian immigration has been coming in mass, and it's a bit of a size issue. I mean, Brazil is 20 times the size of Portugal. So if 1% of them come, we get very full very fast.
True. On a little side note, Philomena was saying last night that there are predictions. It's not her own prediction, but there would be a language called Brazilian in a few years' time. This whole thing of Brazilian Portuguese and European Portuguese. There just would be a language known as Brazilian.
I honestly think that would make sense. I think this current system is kind of just confusing people, and it's different enough that it would make sense to be a different.
Yes, as if we haven't got enough things to be complicated about. Right. People can get the D7 easily, but not an appointment. How is that attractive to people?
It's not. I would say the biggest problem is still how the Portuguese public services work or don't work.
Yeah, right.
So that tends to be the huge issue. And things are better now with IMA than they were with the whole SAF mess that would before. They took 3 years since they announced they were going to close SAF until they actually created IMA. And I do think things improved since they had created IMA, but IMA is still highly understaffed compared to the actual need that is of their services. And they say they supposedly, I think it was this week or last week, they created some new digital appointment services. And I am not too hopeful, because Portuguese public services, I don't know what they do. They tend to spend millions on these new softwares that just don't work.
To the cynicism about politics, there is a task force. Two things on that. The extension that just came and went at the end of June has now been extended to mid-October. And in the meantime, a task force is being appointed to address that massive pile of cases that have as yet been not addressed, and with people's residencies running out and so on.
And they say there's like 700,000 pending citizenship processes. I mean, the population of Portugal is under 11 million. That's almost 10% of the population.
It's quite the workload.
The crazy demand that we have.
Yes.
I mean, we cannot add like 20% to our population in this short period of time. It's going to create chaos.
Yeah, very, very interesting. So, okay, thank you, Mr. S, for that comment as well. Good to see you here this morning. Daniel Dos Reis disagrees with the gata desenrolada. First thing first. Do you don't agree with that translation of your name there?
No, desenrolada means unrolling yourself.
The unrolling cat. That's not right, is it? Okay. So, Daniel, do you know what? I think probably Daniel and Anna agree with the outcome and what's being looked for here, which is fairness for both foreigners and the country itself and the Portuguese culture. It's just how they go about that. And notice, if you will, people from other countries, how Portuguese people are able to disagree with each other in a civil way without deciding that they need to live in separate states or shoot each other and stuff like that. Yes, but people need to continue renewing, and IMA isn't efficient at all. Nobody would argue with that, would they? Nobody would argue with that. Children do learn that way, but adults don't. It's very different. Okay, well, you can have your grammar. If you want to be in a classroom learning grammar for 6 months, 2 times a week, you're very welcome to it. I don't think that's the way to learn a language personally. When you're older and really wanted to contribute and feel part of the country, and 5 years to citizenship was a wonderful thing. Now one probably runs out of road before you reach 10 years. That's a bit fatalistic, isn't it? I'm not going to bother because I'll probably be dead. Bom dia, alegria. Mate! A todos e feliz sexta-feira e bom fim de semana. Muito obrigado. Igualmente, Mate. Think I found the interview, checking for the exact place where he says it to be sure. Thank you, Sarah. That's great. I really appreciate your work behind the scenes. Bom dia, alegria. A todos e feliz sexta-feira. Oh, Mate's saying that twice to us there. Fantastic. And desculpa, gata. Desenroscado. Is that better?
No, that's basically the same thing. Desenrascado. He just missed one letter now.
All right, okay. I must try harder. He's been sent to the back of the class, working there. Now, the other part of this conversation is, I think some foreigners did start a petition. I sent you the link. I'll put the link in the chat so that people can sign the petition if they want, and I'll bring it onto the screen. You're not very hopeful about the petition, are you, Anna?
No, I don't think it will have a lot of impact.
No. Okay, basically. Why not?
Well, for one, I would say that, like I said, the Portuguese citizens, the vast majority of them, they want changes to the current situation.
Yep.
And actually, the foreigners pushing back against it, it's kind of increasing the tensions, and like you said, it's just a matter of disagreement of opinion, and of course the people who are actually affected by it are going to be a lot less happy than the people that just get secondhand affected. I mean, if the person gets their citizenships in 5 or 10 years, it doesn't really affect me directly, does it? No. And it does definitely affect these people that are waiting. But like I said, I do think that something needed to be done. And these are things that are hard to legislate, because there is a problem, but it's hard to find the ideal solution for it.
Absolutely. And, you've got to draw a line, haven't you? You're not going to please everybody. That's just not going to happen, is it?
Yes, and something needed to be done. And like I said, I do think that this family reunification proposal is terrible. And I honestly don't think it's going to go through because it's probably unconstitutional. But the rest of it, I don't find it unreasonable.
Okay, thank you for that. So, but the petition link is there if you want to sign it. And yes, I did feel a bit of heat myself, having published a mention of this petition on my YouTube channel. somebody I think I sent you the comment, didn't I, from a Portuguese person saying, I wouldn't dream of going to a country and then starting a petition against the country itself. On that level,
Yeah.
I
And
can agree.
actually, I ended up finding some on social media, and a lot of people, lots of Portuguese immigrants, even in other countries, and saying the same thing. Like, there was people saying, like, I've been living 20 years in Switzerland or in other countries, and they're like, I don't have citizenship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There is that side to it as well. We've not mentioned that, have we? Some people are just happy to be residents, grateful to be residents, and are never thinking of becoming citizens. And for
And
America,
even like there was, I don't remember if it was Switzerland or Sweden, but it was one of the two, that there was this lady saying, like, you do have the right to become and request citizenship, but the tests are so hard that most people don't do it.
yeah. Very, very, very interesting. For Andrew, interesting thing about the petition, the signature count for the last 2 days, and it is no longer visible on the main petitions page. Perhaps it just means that it has been accepted for review. I think, to be fair to people who started the petition, they are petitioning, I think, about the unfairness of how they were told one thing and something else seems to be the case. And you can understand that sense of unfairness. But yeah, also,
I think this comes back to the whole retrograde thing. I mean, it's also happened in the Golden Visa, and that one was pretty ridiculous because they were trying to change the Golden Visa program and applying with retroactive measures, so people that already spent the money would get different things from what they knew when they spent the money.
That's right.
And it wasn't permitted.
Yes.
Because it just was ridiculous.
Yes.
And in this case, I do think it's going to be a little harder to regulate because we are talking about a very long period of time. I mean, 5 versus 10 years.
Yeah.
And I do think that if it's something like a year is missing from your citizenship, I do think that something should be done, like people should apply or just do a pre-inscription, just saying, okay, I just have this much months missing from the 5-year term and should still be allowed to do it according to the initial rules. But I do think that should be a time limit. I mean, if it's, I don't know, 16 months, 24 months, whatever, until the official citizenship time. But I also don't make sense. I don't think it makes sense that someone that, applied this year and would have 5 years to have the 5 years instead of the altered time frame, because it's just such a long time frame.
Yeah. And you make a good point. People who in good faith thought, okay, I'll take that investment in Portugal, and only to have the rules changed could understandably be a bit peeved about that. Sarah has found us the link. This is great. Unfortunately, unable to post it in the chat. I think the technology here of StreamYard and YouTube doesn't allow you to post the link. If you send it to me on let me put my WhatsApp. If you just send me the link, Sarah, or anybody else, please do, and I'll make sure it gets to everybody, and I'll put it in the thread.
From what I've read, the counter would not reset to 0. I see in here what Sarah is saying. Okay. They were proposing that the counter would only start counting once you have your residence permit, which is a whole other issue because, as we all know, between requesting and being ready with everything for the residence permit and they're actually issuing the residence permit, there often goes quite a large amount of time. So I definitely think that it's not fair to have these people may lose a bunch of months because of the incompetence of the public Portuguese services.
Yes,
so absolutely. I definitely agree that. And if they did anywhere say that they were going to restart the counter to 0, that's not going to happen because that's not going to be legal. But like I said, once again, going back to the whole golden visa situation, and our politicians do tend to have a tendency to do this whole thing where, I don't know, they just take years and years and years to actually do something about the problems. And when they do something, they want to do it for yesterday.
Yeah, that's how this
That's
feels.
not really how things work. And like I said, we've been through this whole thing when it was the golden visa, and it also created a whole chaos on the immigration channels because it created a huge distrust for the government. And once again, I don't think they will be able to implement those kinds of retroactive measurements and take away the time that people already have.
Very good. Okay, Matty, I joined later or late. What is the issue, and does it affect holders of EU passports? I've never had an appointment with Seth or even Ima. You wouldn't. You would just have your crew as an EU passport holder to show that you are resident. Hopefully, you've done that, Matty. You've rocked up at your local Fregzia and got your CRUE paperwork. And what will happen? You will be affected by this, but it's only when you convert your residency to citizenship. And Andrew's got quite a good solution on this. My solution to this is that everyone gets their existing time doubled. Okay, that's good. So if you've been here for 3 years, your time under the new system should be counted as 6 on the date of the law change. Notwithstanding, of course, Anna, it all comes back to the speed of processing and how efficient the system is, which is always going to be the crunch, isn't it?
I actually don't disagree. I mean, if they're going to double the time, it does make sense to double the existing time for the people that applied before the change.
Yep.
And I do think that would be a good solution. Like if you have years now, you had 2. If you have 1, like if you have 3, then you have 6.
Yep.
I think that wouldn't be a bad solution, to be honest. For the Portuguese-speaking countries, they are proposing 7 years. So I do think in that case, it should be like proportional to the increase in time.
Okay, good. Sarah's link is now in the chat. We're watching all of this closely, aren't we? So this is the interview there with Rui Armindo Freitas. Thank you very much for that. Matty's got his crew, and Sarah will be delighted to be wrong about the counter resetting to 0. That will be a bitter blow for many. And Matty saying, "I'm not planning to trade in my German passport for a Portuguese one." You kind of don't need to. I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. You could have dual, but that's the thing. Most of the people because one of the things I noticed is that a lot of people that want citizenship, they just want the passport because it has really good. Portuguese passport is very good, and most of the Europeans, they already have a very good passport, so it doesn't really make a lot of difference for them.
Yes, very good. It's okay for you. You're only 60. I mean, only 60. I thought I'd be uttering those words, only 60. But you're right, Peder. Bon dia from Bob. Good discussion. Is there some confusion among immigrants between permanent residency and citizenship? There's always confusion about this, isn't there, Anna?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't really understand the difference. Like I said, I would say one of the major changes between the citizenship and permanent residence is the passport. Because you do get access to almost everything else. I mean, you get access to the public services in the same way the Portuguese do. So I would say that the major difference would be the passport. And another measure they are proposing that I highly agree with is that if you do get citizenship, if you commit a serious crime that consists in more than 1 year prison sentence, your citizenship gets revoked, which I actually think it's not a bad measure at all.
Who would disagree with that? I mean, yeah, let's do that one. That's. I think that's going to be fair enough. Okay, so yes, the other thing here about if you're an American who becomes a citizen of Portugal instead of remaining a permanent resident, you might affect your tax status on your pension and end up paying more tax on your pension. I think I'm correct in saying. Thank you to a community member who pointed that out to me. So there is that as well that people might not have thought of, and it might be best to remain a permanent resident. The other part of it, of course, is you do have to renew, don't you, every 5 years as a permanent. I think it's 5 years.
I think it depends on the type of visa. I think some of them it's like 1 and then 2 years, 2 years. And some of them is 2 years.
Yes. Okay. So you do have to renew. Whereas if you're a citizen and that's it. You can vote in the national election. You have to be a natural born Portuguese to become the president.
Okay. That's another major difference.
Yeah. So that's, you get your vote.
I do think that permanent citizens should have the right to vote, though, because if you are residing here and even if you are not a citizen, I do think you should have the right to vote because you are being affected by the laws here.
Arguably, you get to vote as a resident in the local elections, the ones that are coming up in September. So you just register as a resident. You can register at your local Freguesia to vote in the local elections. And I would argue those are more powerful and useful than the national elections in many ways.
Yeah, they definitely affect you more because in the end, the national elections, it's about, like we said, the whole cake, and there's not much we can do to bite it down.
Ben Austin is joining us for some light relief from this conversation in about 3 minutes at 9 o'clock. We're doing a phonetic, I nearly said Phoenician Portuguese, which is a very rare niche and dialect, but no, phonetic, not Phoenician Portuguese. We'll conclude our conversation with Anna here about citizenship. It's been very helpful this morning. Thank you, Anna. I am not sure dual citizenship is an option, not looked into.
It usually is, to be honest. Portuguese, unless your local country does not permit it, Portugal has nothing against dual citizenship.
And if you've got an EU passport, that's the idea, isn't it? You've got an EU passport which grants you a citizenship across the whole zone. So I think that's a useful thing to bear in mind as well, Matty. You can't vote as a resident, but you can locally. You can't vote in the nationals. If I think
you can vote on the municipais,
but not the big ones. Isn't it part of being integrated into one's culture, being able to vote? Well, I check, but if you, as a resident now, Barak, if you go to your local parish hall and ask to register to vote.
I'm curious though, is this general? Is the same on the other countries, or is this a Portuguese thing?
I'm not sure. People will have to tell you. Americans might tell you, who are celebrating Independence Day. We've got a couple of minutes left, Anna. Let's finish on a high note, shall we? Because the big question remains, with all of these changes, is it still worth the admission price to come to this wonderful country? I believe it is.
I do think there's not much that changed. I mean, unless you really, really wanted the Portuguese citizenship, and now in this case, I do agree that the whole voting thing probably needs to be slightly reviewed. But I don't think that much has changed because residents do get most of the rights to when they come here, as long as they have their residence permit.
Yes, yeah, and I think it's prompting a lot of conversation, both internal and external. It's making us look at our ideology. One great example of this, I overheard or was told about a conversation between an Australian and a Portuguese man, and the Australian was saying, "This is terrible. Chega taking over in Portugal and changing all of these immigration laws. It's becoming so much more difficult to come into Portugal now." And the Portuguese man said to the Australian, "Hold on a minute, you're from Australia, which has some of the toughest inward migration policies in all of the world. And I think you probably like it like that." And I think the Australian was dumbfounded. So on the one hand, so ideologically, we could be like John Lennon, couldn't we? Thinking, imagine there's no heaven or boundaries or flags or anything. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we had complete free movement? But we also know, don't we, from our lives as grown-up adults, there is a thing called human nature, and we might want to protect ourselves from some of the worst aspects of that through the instruments of the law and government as well, which is, I guess, the live conversation that's happening at the moment culturally here in Portugal. But yes, Anna, I think this is still a great country to come to. And that's the ultimate question, isn't it? Is it still a great place to come? I think you're finding that, and people are still getting in touch with you to do so.
Yeah, I would think the important thing is just how much difference does the citizenship from the residents have from what to be fair, I haven't researched that very deeply. But like I said, I know the passport is one of the big ones, and now the voting. Are there other major things? Are those things extremely important to you? And I would say for most people, they are probably not that hugely relevant.
There you go. If you need some help moving to Portugal from Anna and team, yes, best regards to the whole team. Have a wonderful weekend. Anna, lovely to speak to you this morning. Thank you so much for being here. That's how to find you, right? SavvyCatRealty.com. All the best to you, bom fim de semana, and muito obrigado. Ciao, ciao. See you. There she goes. SavvyCatRealty.com. How are you doing in the chat there? Been an interesting conversation. And by way of a kind of a palate cleanse here, I don't know if he's ever been referred to as that, the human palate cleanser himself. Benos, he's going to tell us what that is in Portuguese in just a moment. Nice big round of applause. Here he is. You're a sorbet, mate. You're a human sorbet.
Sorbet and raw mushrooms. That's me.
What? Raw mushrooms?
Yeah, they can be used as a palate cleanser as well.
Oh, check you out. Not only can you speak Portuguese and teach us as well, you know a little bit about the food, the art of food as well, don't you? I didn't know that. Mushrooms as a palate cleanser.
You can use raw mushrooms as a palate cleanser, yes.
My goodness, we won't be doing that this morning, will we? We're
No,
learning phonetic Portuguese. Can you help actually, before we start with that, how are you doing? What's going on? Is it hot in your part of Portugal?
It is incredibly hot. I haven't had my morning coffee yet, so I'm still a bit slow. I've been relegated to water. It's far too hot for coffee. And I've been very busy as of late, Carl. I've been manically on the computer looking at what people's biggest problems with Portuguese have. I haven't even had the time to shave or anything. I've come here with my non-iron shirt and tie, a bit like an ill-prepared supply teacher, really.
Let me introduce you to Mr. Austin, who's your supply teacher today, and he's going to teach you Portuguese with his particular angle on this. Oh, the renewals. Hold on, Mr. S isn't finished. The renewals. Yes, we still have to deal with this bureaucratic nightmare, don't we? And maybe the task force will do that. A task force has been promised, Mr. S, to sort all of that out by October, the middle of October. The human palate cleanser. Let's come back to you, Ben. It must be that smile. Bon dia to you from Bob. Right.
Bon dia,
Phonetic
Bob.
Portuguese. What's all this about then? What are the biggest problems people are facing with Portuguese, and why is phonetic Portuguese the answer to that, Ben?
So this goes back to a personal belief of mine. I think the way we're taught language is completely backwards. For instance, when I went to Germany and had to learn German, the first thing they taught me was grammar and how to build a sentence, which is all fine and well. But I couldn't pronounce
a form of torture. It's a torture. It's not
more verbs in Portuguese.
Yes, absolutely.
So I thought, as someone who does speak Portuguese fluently and English fluently, I thought it falls on my shoulders to kind of make a difference here. Nice. So I'm gonna get closer to the camera now and be very noble and move my head a lot like this.
See what you did there. Yeah, very good, very good. Moving in to establish trust and rapport with the audience. Excellent.
Exactly. Ethos, pesos, logos.
What? That sounds like a really good strapline for some cigarettes.
Greek cigarettes.
What did you just say? You're teaching
it's like it's a marketing thing, isn't it? When you're making a speech or when you're making an advert, you have ethos, pesos, logos. So emotion, relation, and logic.
And you've got the lot. You've got the whole package. Right?
I try.
Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Back to front. So I think we're basically on the same page wavelength here. This A2 thing, the idea of learning Portuguese by sitting in a classroom, like in a Portuguese school, which takes people back to their own school days, learning grammar first, and coming out of that, my standing joke, what does A2 mean in Portuguese? It means I can't speak the language. There's a conceptual understanding. Maybe people of a certain age don't retain information. They're doing it to be tested. The worst kind of education, as far as I'm concerned, remembering facts to be tested, which you'll never use again for the rest of your life. That's not the best way to learn a language, is it?
Exactly. It's like the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. When am I going to use that?
What? You've just used it, Ben. But I
guess give you an example.
But I get your point. I get your point. Yes. So you're thinking, okay, there's a better way to do this, and you think you found it.
Definitely, I do. Right. It's from personal experience as well. Like when I was in Germany, I found the best way I'd learn is try to break down how people are pronouncing words, which for me was quite easy. I'm pretty lucky having a bilingual upbringing and having I speak Italian as well. So it was quite easy for me to pick out the little sounds and everything and kind of build a phonetic base. And then from there, I noticed that my German grammar and my grammar in other languages as well just skyrocketed.
Right. Okay. Very interesting. You're still streaming on the Savvy Cat channel, so you've become part of the Savvy Cat team this morning. You're a supply teacher over there as well, offering a service to the Savvy Cat clients as well. Excellent. Matty finished his A1, A2 course yesterday, up to B1, B2 in September or so. And how is it when you go to the cafe, Matty? Because this is what we're talking about, isn't it, Ben? What is it like when you're talking to your neighbors? What's it like when you're in the cafe? What about the restaurant? What about when you're doing your bureaucracy? Are you speaking the language? Are you engaging?
So I think what I'll do is I'll start sharing my screen and I'll show everyone what I have prepared for today. We'll do the...
All right. I'm going to put you on this side of the screen, so I'm with the comments here. And
again, You are my eyes and ears when it comes to the comments. I can't see anything at the moment. So you'll be familiar with this, Carl. This is what we went through last time over here.
Yeah.
And I think I was quite ambitious to put this much into one show. So for this
because
one,
we ended up doing a load of British comedy as well, didn't we? For some reason, I don't know what happened.
yeah, no, it's the way these things go. So I've prepared something a little bit different for this, and I think something that'll be a bit more engaging with an audience, the live stream audience as well.
Okay. Good.
Something that really helped me when I was abroad was kind of memorizing scripts. So if I went to a restaurant, I knew what I had to say when I went to a restaurant. If I had to go to a pharmacy to ask something, I'd know what I'd have to ask for, what the questions would be that they'd ask me as well. So I thought today it'd be fun if we work together on a few scripts. Now, for dramatic effect, I've blacked out all of the themes that I have here today.
Look at you.
So, yeah.
Right, okay.
I've always had an ear for the theatrics. Oh, forget that you saw that. You didn't see that.
I think yes. Carry on like nothing happened.
Exactly. So to build up the anticipation, if we could all get a bit of an imaginary drum roll going on here.
We don't need an imaginary one. We've got a real one. If I can find it.
Oh, we do?
No, not.
You know what? That's appropriate enough. We'll stick
hold
with
that.
that.
We'll hold that.
So,
Hold on. No. I've got a drum roll somewhere here.
We do.
Here we go.
There we go. Going to the cafe. Yay!
Yes, oh my God.
So we'll
Barely
pretend
contain myself. Right,
we
okay.
pretend that all went smoothly. Right, so first off, going to the cafe. So what I thought we'd do today is centered around this theme. Let's produce a bit of a script together. Let's work together on this. And people in the comments as well, if you want to put in what you'd say or what your replies would be or what you've encountered when you've been in this situation, we'll put that into here as well. And we'll all work our way around this very complicated language together.
Yeah,
so,
do it, folks. Do it. Engage, because this is where you'll really learn something.
Okay, so I'm going to take the part as the cafe owner here. I'm polishing a glass of some sort or something. I put it down. I notice you, and I will say, "Bom dia" first of all.
Bom dia. Olá, bom dia.
Bom dia. O que vai ser? So that means good day. What will it be?
What will it be? That's fantastic.
What is your go-to order when you go to a cafe, Carl? What is your...
Well, of course, I'm going to respond with a "Hola, bon dia," maybe a "Tudo bem," depending on if I know you or not. Ole!
Ole! Hola, bon dia.
I never shout "Ole" when I get, or maybe when I get my coffee, but not as an entry point. Yeah, so I would now. I've become accustomed to saying, instead of "Queria café," I might say "Pode ser," like asking for something a little bit different, right?
Yeah, you can do that as well, and it's quite good actually, because I'm in the habit of going "Queria café," to which a response is often "Queria quer," which is a joke that really gets on my nerves, quite frankly.
Yes. Well, as in, like, I would like. Oh, you would you? Is that joke?
It's not so much you would you, because queria would technically be in the past, so it implies that you no longer want it. However, technically, it's the polite way of saying it.
Oh, okay. All right. And that's where these conversations come to a grinding halt, when the Portuguese bar owner makes that joke and you do not know what on earth is going on, and everyone else in the cafe is laughing.
Exactly. That's when it can get a bit embarrassing. So now we know how to navigate a way around that. What was it you said again? Sorry, I've already forgotten.
Well, queria café, ou pode ser meia de leite, faz favor?
Pode ser uma, there you go, another thing as well, uma meia de leite, because a lot of people order a cafe not knowing that will be a little shot of espresso that you get in your morning.
I feel a bit shortchanged.
I think we've all been there at least once, where we've gone to a cafe ignorant of the fact that, because you look it up on Google Translate, coffee, café. Okay, I'll ask for a coffee, expecting someone to ask, oh, do you take it with milk? Do you take it with sugar? How do you like it?
Yes.
And we order our cafe and we get this little espresso at the table, and we're overcome with an air of utter disappointment.
Yes, I remember the first espresso I ever ordered with my friend Johnny when we were teenagers. What we were hoping for is something we could nurse for about half an hour in a cafe. But when the half full or half empty, depending on what sort of person you are, when the little cups arrived and they were only half full of bitter, strong coffee that should be downed in one, we were a little bit disappointed and never did that again. Okay, Mr. S is in the spirit of this. Bon dia. Meia de leite. Escura. Very interesting. He's going for the escura hybrid there, por favor. Or order a café cheio. So they're up to speed with this. A couple of the people in the chat. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it's a very, it's good. We're all used to going to cafes. It's a good opener. We do have some more, let's call them not so much peculiar, but more specific themes that we'll get to later on. But I do like the addition of meia-de-leite escura. If I were to order a meia-de-leite, that's how I'd like it as well, with a bit less milk in it.
Okay, so escura means stronger, does it?
Escura would mean darker, so you're referring to the color there. So, of course, if you add less milk, it becomes a darker coffee.
Right, okay, there you go. Escura, good little bit of lingo to know there. Thank you very much. We're learning a lot already. Thank you. We're only one sort of interaction in, aren't we?
So we're only one sentence in so far. Yeah, we've covered multiple topics. So let's start from the beginning, recap, and then we'll add to this. So, bom dia, o que vai ser? And to which you would reply, Carl.
Olá, bom dia, tudo bem? Pode ser uma meia-de-leite escura.
Uma meia-de-leite escura. There we go. Got to have that escura.
Escura.
Yeah, if you break this word down a little bit, if we do it into syllables, the famous phonetics, this is where they come in.
Yes.
We have escura. Cool. We've already talked about this little syllable over here quite a few times. The funny one.
The cool, yes.
So we got the soft E with a sh sound, almost like you're shushing someone. A sh.
Yeah.
Ish. Cool. So the standard C, k, and then U with the rolled R, like we practiced last time. What did we title it? I think it was the Manuel from Faulty Towers R.
Yes, we did. That's why we went down that avenue. Yes, indeed. Yes. Now, if I may draw our attention to the tendency maybe to say España, it's ish, isn't it? With an
España, with a softer E, yeah. España.
Yes, E. Okay, good. Right.
Although there must be some accent out there that says ish, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a very regional accent, probably in the Alentejo, which says España.
Okay. Yes. So in this instance, escura. A
soft E. When you say escura, you're pronouncing it almost like you would an I. Escura.
Okay. All right.
But you can't go to a cafe and just order a coffee. You have to have something to eat as well with it. That'd be blasphemous to just have a coffee.
Sim, verdade. Torrada, faz favor.
Okay, so let's take away that and also all of these little bars we put here. And we'll add uma torrada, se faz favor.
Uma torrada.
Uma torrada. And you have to show a bit of gratitude here towards the end of the sentence. So what would we say to add a bit of gratitude to this?
Se faz favor. I go with the se faz favor. Or faz favor. Yeah.
Se faz favor. So you're like me then, because you could either say se faz favor or por favor.
Do you know why I don't say por favor?
Why is that, Carl?
Because it sounds Spanish. And very early on in my acculturation here, this message of like the rivalry between Spain and Portugal. So I avoid anything Spanish so as not to foster the ire of my Portuguese correspondence.
That's a good way to be. I don't know what I've fallen into the habit of saying se faz favor, and I can't tell you why. Genuinely, it just sounds a bit more correct to me.
Yes.
It sounds like the right way of saying things.
Yeah, I've gone with that, and I almost swallow the "sir" as well. It just does come down to "faz favor."
Faz favor, yes, faz favor.
Yeah.
You do say it, when you're speaking to a Portuguese person, they do say it, but it's so quick. You wouldn't say faz favor, faz favor. You have to lean your head a bit when you say it.
Faz favor. Okay.
You have to lean your head a bit when you say it as well. But you know that Portuguese spoken 50% with the mouth and 50% with the hands and all the body language.
Okay,
it's important to warm up a little bit and.
When you're here next time, can we do some of that? Can we go? Okay, brilliant.
That'll be good. We'll be doing a little bit of it today as I talk on. I have the awful habit. I've got to be very careful with how I say this next word, gesticulating. So.
I'm glad you're in another studio.
It does help.
Beauty of online. Right.
So for that I would reply, claro, com certeza.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I'm spelling certeza.
Very good.
No,
morning, Jackie, by the way. While Ben's doing that, morning to you, Jackie. Lovely to see you.
Certeza. Quer que eu levo... I do apologize, my camera's shaking a little bit. A mesa.
Yes. The passion is coming through. Okay.
It's just my desk is a bit wobbly, that's all. So, if I say, claro, com certeza, quer que eu leve à mesa, what would you reply to this, Carl?
Muito obrigado. And go to the table.
So, yeah, okay, you'd say, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think a more correct way of going about it would saying, sim.
Yeah.
Se faz favor.
Yeah.
So yes, please. And then, of course, you have your muito obrigado.
Okay, so that's like, would you like to take a table? So you're responding to that?
This here means, would you like me to take it to the table? So once I prepared your made late and your lovely torrada with far more butter on there than there ever should be for your heart even.
Yes, definitely.
I would ask to take, I'm requesting to take it to your table.
Okay, so that's good. Now, sometimes am I not just given a sort of sentar?
You can. That's a good point as well. Yes, you can say pod. Instead of this sentence here, pod sentar.
Yeah, okay.
Which is more of instead of a question, it's a bit more of not so much an order, but an affirmation. You can sit.
Yeah. Go and sit down.
Go sit down.
You're making the place look untidy. Go and sit down. All right, okay. Excellent.
So after this, a bit of time passes, of course. You're on your table, you're scrolling on your phone, and then as if by surprise, because it's always by surprise, you never expect it, it always arrives at the most unexpected moment, you get your coffee. So at that point, the staff are most likely to say, aqui tem, with a Q.
What a lovely phrase.
Aqui tem, with a funny little, that's not the right accent, is it? It's this one. Still getting used to using a Portuguese keyboard here. Aqui tem.
Some of us will never get used to using a Portuguese keyboard.
Uma meia de leite.
All right, aqui tem. There you go. You got it.
Uma torrada.
Torrada. Right.
Uma. Right. It helps if there's a little separation between there. So, of course, you would like the natural response. This would say thank you. So, obrigado or muito obrigado. We'll just stick with obrigado this time.
Mm-hmm.
But this is also an opportunity here for you to create a bit of conversation with the person behind the counter. It's always a good idea when learning Portuguese to get well established in your local cafes.
Yes.
It's such a social environment, and people are so, if you make the effort to learn the language, everyone becomes so open to talk to you, and everyone will want to talk to you as well, which is a great thing. So a good tip for learning Portuguese is perhaps making it doesn't have to be a daily trip, maybe once every 2 days, go down to your cafe, have a bit of a coffee, try create a bit of conversation with a bit of rapport with the person behind the counter, with a few members of staff, or even with the locals that are visiting there.
Yeah, definitely. This is something I'm very grateful for in San Martin de Porto. Shout out to Nelson at Palmeira, where we have our meetups. And, we howl with laughter when it gets to a point where you can see I'm not understanding what's going on. And he's very patient, and people are joining in the cafe. Great advice, Ben. Get to know a cafe where you're not only going to get fed like physically, literally, but fed culturally as well.
Exactly, and most cafes will have bread as well, so it's and it's really good. The bread in Portugal is just gorgeous, so definitely buy bread from your local.
Pau, queijo.
So right, getting back on track. This is your opportunity to establish a bit of an icebreaker. How should we go about this?
The weather.
The weather.
Yes.
It's very British, yes. So we could comment on the weather. I think that maybe something a bit more appropriate would be to ask if they've been working at the establishment for long.
Oh, okay.
That's it's a bit more relevant to the theme of the cafe here. So how do we go about asking that? Any ideas? Anyone in the comment section got any,
come on.
ideas?
Yeah, I don't want to take all the heat here. How would you ask in the cafe if the person has been working there a long time? It's like being in a taxi, isn't it? And asking the taxi driver if they've been busy today. So have you been here long?
Yeah, I do quite enjoy my taxi rides here in Portugal. I do enjoy talking to I'm a very extroverted person naturally. I enjoy talking to the person in the front seat, and I tend to sort of make up a different backstory for each different taxi that I'm in. So I could have been a boxer, an actor, whatever. And it just creates a bit of conversation.
You
I'll just make up a story.
Do you? You rascal. And you've got taxi drivers to this day saying, yeah, I had that boxer, Ben Austin, in here the other
exactly.
day.
The professional boxer.
Nice bloke, actually.
Fixed my tyre.
Right. Yeah, stripped down to the waist and changed my tyre. Lovely bloke. Right. Yeah, I don't know how to say if you worked here long.
If you worked here long. So, right. You could go with trabalha aqui muito tempo. So that being, have you worked here for long?
Okay. Trabalha aqui há muito tempo. Okay, that's good. And this is what you were saying before. if you commit this to your memory, you got a little script to go at, haven't you? You've got something to fall back on.
Exactly, and you can refer to this as sort of exactly. You have something to fall back on. Couldn't have put it better myself there. It helps to have these little things in your head. So one for the cafe, one for the pharmacy, one for when I go to the bank, one for when I go to the doctors. Just these little guides to a conversation.
Yeah,
it's almost like a sales script.
Yeah, and they're building blocks as well, aren't they? Because you'll pick up parts of these phrases and make hybrid phrases, and it will be the start of the Lego blocks of your language skill.
Exactly. So you could take something like this. You could add different sentences to it. You could modify it. And what we're doing here is what's most likely going to be said. It doesn't necessarily mean it is what's going to be said. So you should also be ready to adapt to different responses as well. And
remember where you are, because if you go into the cafe and say your pharmacy one and say like, could I have some pile cream? It's gonna be pretty awkward, I would have thought. Yeah. But Portuguese people are pretty cool like that.
It's like, oh god, we were talking about this the other day on
You were?
I was doing another demo. No, sorry. When I say we were us here at the house.
Right.
There's this funny story of my dad going into a shop to order. He had a camera.
It's funny already.
He's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me for saying this story. I'm gonna go once I've done the show. He's gonna come out of nowhere and just strangle me.
Yeah.
So he needs batteries for his little camera that he carries around with him, and he goes into a shop. And I remember very distinctly him. I was sitting in the van waiting for him to come back. He comes back in a bit of a mood, like, how do you say batteries in Portuguese, Ben? And I go, pilhas. Yeah, that's what I said. When I said that to the person behind the counter, they started laughing at me. And it gets me thinking. And I'm like, Dad, did you say pilhas or did you say pilas?
Oh.
So he goes, pilas, because he can't pronounce the l properly. Now, for context, pilhas, like you're supposed to, like he meant to say, means batteries. Yes. Pilas means multiple penises.
Did he come back with a bag of multiple penises? Was he in Caldash? Because in Caldash, that could have worked.
It could have, yes.
Yes.
No, he didn't. I think they understood what he was trying to say, but to avoid any comical situation where you accidentally order a bag of penises, the syllable "ya" is very important to learn in Portuguese.
Thank you. That's the gem of today's transmission. And if you are the sort of foreigner who's got a load of bags of assorted penises back at your house from the constant confusion that arises in this exchange, you have our sympathy. But pilhas, you need the
yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm sorry to hear that, Terence.
Yeah, you're actually quite good at pronouncing that. That's a good syllable. Most people struggle with that.
Okay, peelish. Okay, good.
Yeah. So anyway, carrying on with this, because
we do get so easily distracted, don't we?
We do. We go off on one too easily. So how would I as the cafe person, server, reply to this? Trabalho aqui há muito tempo. I could go, sim, estou cá. If I could type correctly, that would be nice. Estou cá. Let's say 3 years. 3 anos.
Right, okay.
Okay, to which you could reply, é muito tempo, if it's a younger person, you could say, pronto, já é muito tempo trabalho aqui, desde criança, ou é a sua família que é dono do café. That would mean is it your family that owns the cafe?
Yeah.
At this point, the response could, it's up to you to what you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
How would you reply to this, Carl? What would be, I've been here for 3 years.
I quite like a bit of sort of banter and bonding, so I might say bom trabalho or something like that. Would that be okay?
Bom trabalho. Yeah. That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Bom trabalho.
Nice one, mate. It kind of translates as nice one, doesn't it? As much as like good work, literally.
It's a bit more good work, literally. If you wanted to say nice one, no. How do I say nice one? You could just say boa.
Boa. Yeah, okay.
Boa. So we could go with either or here.
Yeah. Okay.
Boa.
Yeah.
Right, I think that opens us up for our next topic, which I wrote quite late last night, so I've already forgotten what it is.
The big review. Do you need another drum roll?
Yes, I think that'd be good. Let's build up the anticipation a little bit.
Okay.
Trip to the pharmacy, of course it is.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know about you, Carl. I don't know about other people in the comment section. I find myself in the pharmacy quite a bit. I suffer from hay fever, so at least once every 2 weeks, I've got to go down and get my prescription for antihistamines.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
So should we operate off that basis? Yep. Let's go to the pharmacy to get antihistamines.
Okay. Let's do that.
All right. Good. So when you go to the pharmacy, usually you take out a little number and they'll call you up, won't they? So this would be me.
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, an important cultural note. Yes. Take a ticket. Take a ticket.
Take a ticket.
Yes.
Yes. So you've taken your ticket, you're in the queue, and now it's your time to come up. Let's say you're number 15. So what they will say either over the speaker or they'll just shout out is número. Let's say you're 15.
Número 15.
Balcão.
Balcão. Balcão. Okay.
Balcão 3.
Balcão 3. Sim.
Número 15. Balcão.
Cashier number 2, please, as you would hear in UK. Yes. Or
Please mind the gap.
Cashier number 3, please. Yes. Okay.
Exactly. So you walk over to the counter, and of course, you open the conversation with the traditional
Olá, boa tarde, perhaps.
Olá, boa tarde. Excellent. Olá, boa tarde. You could also say bom dia, whatever you fancy. It also depends on time of day as well. Bom dia usually refers to morning. Boa tarde would be afternoon.
And do you concur with the idea that you say boa tarde after you've had something to eat, as in your lunch?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, all right.
It's something that I've gotten a bit of. Oh God, it wouldn't really be feedback in English, would it? It'd be a bit of not necessarily backlash, but when I say boa tarde to someone, a quite common response is, ainda não almocei, então é bom dia. I haven't had my lunch yet, so it's still bom dia.
Yes, yeah. I quite like that. I quite like that sort of, knowing if somebody might be hangry, or they're sort of they're what's it called? Their hyperglycemic state. You can tell whether it's a bon dia or a boa tarde.
Exactly. Food's very important. Remember to eat.
Yes.
That's your daily reminder.
You give so much value here. It's incredible. Matty doesn't have to get a ticket. When I enter, they already know what antihistamine pills I need, as the only one product is made. Milk in antihistamines. The things you learn on this show. My goodness. Okay, yeah.
We've gone through so much today. We've learned that milk's in antihistamines. We've gone how to go to a cafe, how not to order a bag of penises. There's so...
Do you know, when people meet you in real life, you're going to get hugged. You saved the day. You enriched my life, and that's what it is to be a teacher, Ben. So enjoy it. Enjoy it.
You've taken me out of my pessimist supply teacher mood. Now I'm now really feeling it. I'm feeling the vibe of the class. I'm feeling like I've got a sense of responsibility and duty here.
I feel like it's a Dead Poet Society. You've gone from that situation of being a transient supply worker to being a much loved professor.
I'll be standing on the tables in a minute.
You will.
Yeah. Which is not really a good idea. You see, I'm in very much what I call live stream attire, where I've got the shirt, I've got the tie on, and underneath here I've got a very casual pair of shorts because it's quite hot.
Well, at least
so, I'll be refraining from standing up, at least from this live stream.
Good man. Best language immersion Bob's had recently is the fellow resetting the cobbles. The Calçadas operative. I've been giving him agua frio the past 2 hot days, and he's off and running with conversation. That's fantastic. Good engagement, Bob.
Excellent.
Bon trabalho there to you.
Excellent community spirit and building there as well.
Yeah. And try a beer at the end of the day. How about a Sagres Mini at the end of the day as well? I'd recommend that.
About 5 o'clock, they won't say no to a Sagres Mini.
Absolutely.
Who said no to a Sagres Mini here in Portugal? That's blasphemous.
It is. He'll take it anyway.
Right, so back on track. So you've gone boa tarde. At this point, you would say what you need as well from to the person behind the counter. Mm-hmm. So we're here for antihistamines. I don't imagine you know how to say antihistamine. Do you suffer from hay fever, Carl?
I don't, but I would be worried. So I would go for a literal translation of antihistaminos.
Yes, that's exactly it. So you'd need antihistaminos. I'm probably spelling that wrong, but let's go with it.
If in doubt, do that, right?
If in doubt, do that. The dyslexia kicking in. The dyslexic Portuguese teacher.
If in doubt, just put your ush on the end.
Exactly. So, boa tarde. So you wouldn't just say antihistamines. That's a bit rude, Boa tarde. Antihistamines.
Oh, tem antihistamines.
I was going to go down a different route there, but I quite like yours. Tem antihistamines.
Yeah.
Antihistamínicos. Either or, yeah. Tem antihistamines. So, at this point, you're at the pharmacy. You've ordered your antihistamines. Your first time in here, so they don't know you. They don't know what brand you like. So they're probably going to ask, They're going to say sim, temos.
Mhm.
And they'll in turn ask, tem alguma preferência?
Oh, very good. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a preference? The preference referring to a brand or a type.
Yes.
Preferência.
Alguma's a good, useful word as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Alguma meaning some.
Yes.
Do you have a or some?
Yeah.
A preference. So, sim, temos. Tem alguma preferência? To which you would usually reply, you could say not necessarily.
Certo, sem leite, faz favor.
Oh, yes, exactly. Certo. Sem lactose or sem leite. Sem lactose, se faz favor.
Oh, I can see myself getting a bag of penises and some antihistamines I don't need at this rate. That's a party, isn't it?
This is just
That's
the
party.
value
Best-
I bring with these lessons.
Best party ever.
I'm going to put that.
Schmiddy.
I'm going to put that. Of course, distinguishment. I'm going to put that on a poster with me like pointing at the screen, very much Uncle Sam like. You
Yeah.
need to learn how to order a bag of penises.
Or not. Yeah, or you could take that other approach. Don't end up like this guy. And then we could just an AI image of a man surrounded by loads of bags and anti. Anyway, no, let's not do that. Let's carry on with this lesson here.
Exactly.
Thanks,
So, sem lactose, faz favor. And the response to that is, most pharmacies will have it. Would be sim, claro, claro with an L.
Claro.
Sim, claro. So, starting from the top, I'll do the part of the pharmacist. I'll say número 15, balcão 3, se faz favor.
Este meu, how would you say that's me? Este eu?
Sou eu.
Seu. Okay, so it is I. That's
we can
great.
add that little moment of panic into our script.
Yes.
I'm not
scrolling on my phone. You mentioned scrolling at your phone at cafe. I'm not doing that at the moment, thanks to Eric. Yeah, I'm having a bit of a digital detox. So I am in the moment and awaiting my number here. Seu eu. Okay.
Sou eu.
Seu. Olá, boa tarde. Tem antihistamínicos?
Tem antihistamínicos. I think we could do that. So you say seu. Seal's a different word. Seal would be yours. Este é o seu casaco. These are two different things here. So sou eu. It is me.
Eu. It is I. Okay.
That's me. Sou eu.
Okay. Sou eu.
Then moving on, you did really well. Olá, boa tarde. Tem antihistamínicos.
Okay.
To which my response would be, sim, temos. Tem alguma preferência?
Certo. Sem lactose, se faz favor.
Sim, claro. Then I'd turn around. I'd go off screen.
Open the drawer up. Yeah, they always have these little drawers at the back, don't they? Where they know exactly where to go.
Or if it's a really particular item, they have the massive room with all the drawers in the back as well.
Yes.
I think they keep the common ones at the front and then the less common ones at the back.
Yes, that's right. And waiting for that moment to be able to shout out, does anyone know where the small condoms are? Yeah, that's a different day.
Patricia, where do you put the hemorrhoid cream?
Sorry, I don't know what's come over us. Ben, we do need to draw to a close.
Oh God, have we gone over the allotted time?
A little bit of a signal there. The buzzer's going to go, and the class will pile out of the door, and the supply teacher will be left standing there with only the three polite students saying, "Thank you very much for teaching us today."
The bell doesn't excuse you. I do.
I don't want to cut you off in your prime, and we need to conclude this farmacia conversation, but also we need to know how people can engage with you and have as much fun as I did this morning. So let's do the farmacia, and then let's find out how people can enroll in the academy, the phonetic academy.
Okay, perfect. So let's try close this up quickly then. So what I'd say is, so I'm the pharmacist. I've come with the box. I'd ask you if this is the correct one.
Nice white coat.
Este que quer.
Yes.
Without the second Q there. São estes que quer. To which you would say, you'd inspect the box, get out your monocle.
Yes, that's what I do when I'm in town.
Exactly. Get out your magnifying glass.
Yes.
I do visual comedy as well. I've got all my props here.
Yes, very good. It didn't go unnoticed.
Yeah. São estes que quer. So you would go sim. São esses.
São estes. That's a useful phrase right there. São estes.
They're
the ones.
Estes would be these ones, so something that I can physically hold or something that's in my realm of reach. Estes, and esses would be over there. So
Oh,
if it's the
those
pharmacist that's
then.
holding them. Yeah, these and those.
So esses. Okay, very good.
São esses. Okay. To which would say, perfeito. What would it be? Isso vai ser. So that will be. I forgot how much mine cost. About 7.33, I think. 7,33 euros. It's a good.
Morning,
it's
morning,
good price.
Peter. I won't be putting your comment on the screen, but morning to you.
Isso vai ser 7,63 euros. At which point, at this point now, you'd hand over the money, you'd pay, and that would be the transaction complete.
Okay. Again, muito obrigado. You're very relieved because there's tears streaming down your face at this point. You can barely see.
Exactly. Your eyes are swollen up and puffy due to the high amounts of pollen.
You're looking like Will Smith from that dating week.
Muito obrigado.
And everyone gives you a round of applause as you exit the farmacia.
Exactly. Everyone's like, wow.
And you walk into the door. You walk into the display in the front window.
The glass door. And someone turns around and says, hey, he's been clearly learning Portuguese phonetically.
That's right. And he needs some ibuprofen now as well.
Exactly.
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. All right. So that about wraps. Of course, you'd say you're muito obrigado, and that about wraps up our little script for the pharmacy as well.
That's it, Proxima, for my regular order in the brown paper bag next week, which we will cover. Ben, that's been great fun again. And it's almost like a proper school period of 40 minutes there. Except to say, how can others have the same sort of fun that I've been having with you this morning? How can people how are you delivering this?
So I'm currently on. I did start a Facebook page for this. It's just Learn Portuguese Phonetically on Facebook. I can try if I can send you a link. I will currently. Learn Portuguese Phonetically. No, this is going to take a bit of time to load now.
Yeah, no worries. Well, we'll make sure everybody's got that, and it complements beautifully our efforts of our kind of boot camp that I'm jumping into again on Monday with Maria. This is fantastic. I think you need all the help you can get, and I would recommend the conversational, the active, the immersive as a way of not putting you off for life. Would you agree? I mean, it's so important to get some quick wins, isn't it? And have some fun with this rather than be beaten down by grammar.
Oh, definitely. I do find that when you get to Portugal as well, you kind of people follow a certain path, and it's always the same story where I started learning the language, and because I'm doing the basics at first, I'm absorbing things incredibly quickly and everything's going, wow, great, consuming information at an incredible pace.
Yes.
But that's going to slow down when you get to the grammar and when you get to the things that are harder as well. So it's very normal to feel unmotivated and very easy to be unmotivated by this because you've gotten used to such a quick pace of learning and consuming information. Suddenly you're slowing down and it feels like you're not making any progress.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't want that. Keep going, keep having fun. Jackie made a very good comment. I speak Portugal's second language. This is absolutely true, Jackie. Perfectly. It's laughter. Portugal's second language, laughter. You definitely get that, and you'll experience that hopefully in the cafe that you choose as your informal learning environment. Bon dia, Carl. Great to catch you live again. Good to see you here, Jackie, as well. I've not seen that link yet, Ben.
I'm struggling a little bit with it. I will say, but I think I've got it up here.
Put it in the private chat rather than directing into the comments. And also, I'll make sure that what we'll do is we'll have a segment of this as well. So we'll make sure parts 1 and parts 2 are available for you to share with whoever you want to, and people can get the benefit again. So there you go. There's the Facebook group. Thank you, Peter, for being here as well this morning. Good to see you. And thanks to everyone who's joined us this morning. I did something similar in German. What I meant to say was my feet are sore. What I actually said was very rude. Let's not go there right now. Let's just thank. Ben's trying to figure that out. He'll get back to us on that.
Going back to my Fuß ist something.
So much. Yeah, you had a great time in Germany, didn't you, with your sore feet or wherever that was. Thank you very much, Ben. Really great fun as ever. Very helpful and useful. There are things that I'll remember in there. Really appreciate you and what you're trying to do to help people here. Last word to you then this morning as we go into our Bom Fim de Semana.
Bem, muito obrigado por me teres aqui, Carl, e boa sorte a aprender português.
Muito obrigado, Ben. You're a legend. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm really looking forward to part 3, which might be a bit of body language. And I'm sure whatever we do, it'll be fun. So see you then. And lots of love to all the family, including your dad, who's probably going to forgive you for sharing that story of the big.
Oh, no, I'm in for a beating now.
Okay. Good luck. Boa sorte. Ciao, ciao. Muito obrigado. And have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you. Goodbye.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts.